Yo, 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 this is RTM, aka Russell the Muscle.
This is Chris.
And we are RTM Productions.
All right. Well, we got a special guest today.
We actually have ex-professional wrestler Mike Tobin.
Whoa, what an introduction. Yeah. What's going on, brothers? How you doing?
Great. What about you?
I'm good, man. Russell the Muscle, my triple main man, going back to CSB fall 2019. It is an absolute honor and pleasure here to be here with you guys. You and I go way back, man. I'm proud of you. I'm glad you're doing your thing here, and thank you for inviting me. I surely do appreciate getting into Studio C.
Oh, yeah. We're happy to have you, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah. Like this isn't usual that where we have guests on.
I dig it, man. This is, the best part about this studio is, like, guys like you can come in here and do your thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So, do you ever actually miss, like, being a wrestler, getting in the ring?
Every day. Every day of my life. In fact, all my friends in the business joke around. They call my wife the assassin because, like, when it comes to my career, she's assassinated it, which is a play on. My wife is Cuban, so the old wrestler is the Cuban assassin. Because she's like 5 feet tall, standing on the phone book, and all these 6'5" guys are terrified of her because they know you got to go through her to get me back in the ring. That's where we are now, me and my age.
Yeah.
I miss it every day, bro. But at the same time, if you look at my wrist here, if you look at my shoulder, if you look, I understand that my time is come and gone. I never say never. You never know.
Yeah.
Like, there's always, you know what I mean? As far as in ring, though, what the stuff that they're doing now, the stuff that the guys and girls are doing now is so incredible and athletic. I don't think I could come back if I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a challenge,
Understandable.
but I miss it every day because when you're out there, you feel like $1 million. There's nothing like it. But we've talked about this on a personal level multiple times.
Yeah.
The risk is so real, and people have no idea. Every single time you get out there. That's why anybody who's listening to this or watching the business, please remember that the people in this business are on the road all the time, number one, away from their families, away from their homes. Number two, every single night that they get in that ring, they're putting their life and their body at risk to entertain people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you're out there, you feel like $1 million, which is why somebody like me who's a little older, still, of course, I miss it every day. I wish I could go down to my boy Pablo Marquez's school in Fort Lauderdale, get the rust off daddy, and have one more run. But if it happens, Russell, it's going to be under a mask.
Yeah. Wow.
Was that an answer to your question?
Yeah.
That was a great answer.
No, thanks, man.
That was perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better answer. So from my understanding, your last match, because we've gotten into it before, was against Ciampa.
Yeah, yes, it was. My last singles match was 10 years ago next month in, I don't know if you guys grew up down here. Back in Delaware, Jim Kettner was a well-respected promoter, and if you ever look up the history of the ECWA, which is a company he created in 1968 and is still, I believe, running now. He sold it in 2010. But the ECWA Super 8 tournament, if you look at the names that have participated in it, it's like a who's who. Like, I don't even know where to start. Christopher Daniels won it twice. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Amazing Red. The list goes on and on and on. Davey Richards has won it. Just the winners alone. If you look it up, if you look up that history, like I said, I'm not doing it justice really by telling you how many guys were made in that tournament on a bigger level, you know what I mean? And just being in that spotlight, for me to be included in that history is such an honor because I was an ECWA mainstay for many years, and 10 years ago last month, I had moved down here and I got the phone call from Jim Kettner saying, "Hey, Mike, what are you doing on October 9th?" I was like, don't know why. What do you think about, being a part of the Super 8? Like, I have the T-shirt that you get and the medal that you get in a shadow box in, my place right now because it means that much. If you look up the history of the tournament and everybody who's been in it over the years, it's just like a who's who, man. Scotty 2 Hotty, Shannon Moore, Rob Conway, just name Charlie Haas. And the early tournaments were just, Jeff Peterson, God bless him, was Jim Kettner's nephew, who was, but to get back to it, Ciampa was in, who's one of the greatest talents in the world right now, and I believe he's like on his way back from major neck surgery 6 months ago.
Yeah.
The guy looks like $1 million. He was in 3 ECW Super 8s, 2009, 2010, and 2011. In 2009, the first match he had in the Super 8 was against me, and I had, ran across Tommaso multiple times over the years. Between where he came from was Chaotic Wrestling in Massachusetts. Now, you really want to look up talent in this business, you go look up Chaotic Wrestling and who's come out of there. Ivar, am I saying that correctly? Or I call him Handsome or Warbeard Hansen. Sasha Banks, Makazi. The list goes on and on and on of all the talents that came out of New England. Ciampa's one of them.
Yeah.
I could go on about that all day. But his first Super 8 was in 2009, and the first round was against me. And I, I'm very proud of that match, and proud enough of it I left there with a broken wrist because I took a risk with a springboard leg drop, and we finished the match. And the referee in that match was Sean Bennett, who's on Monday Night Raw for the past couple of years and was in NXT before. Great friend of mine, and phenomenal referee. And Ciampa's one of the best talents in the world. So for me personally, I'm proud of that, being in that tournament against that opponent, that night being my last singles match, because we left everything out there. He went on to have 2 more fantastic matches that night. The next year, 2010, he was in it again, and he was against Austin Creed from the New Day, you know what I mean? And Xavier Woods, I guess you'd call him now.
Yeah.
That was the final that year, and then the third year, he won it in 2011. Adam Cole was in that one. Rich Swann was in that one. My friend Bobby Shields was in that one. Austin Aries was in that one. So Ciampa's history in the Super 8 was pretty fantastic, and I was proud to be a part of that. For me, on a personal level, though, I was already, not a kid anymore, and left there with a broken wrist after I had broken my humerus a year before that. So where I look now in 2019 and see all these amazing talents that we came up with all at the same time, or when they were younger, on TV now, like last night, Monday Night Raw from Madison Square Garden.
I know.
Dude, seeing guys I know, we're wrestling in the ring, refereeing, being a part of it, it's amazing. So proud of all of them, man.
Exactly. Chris, do you have any questions for?
Well, besides like going back into the ring, have you ever thought, because you've gone to this broadcasting school, have you ever thought of like maybe commentating or even trying to go into somewhere in that field?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're doing here right now. I would love to, because first of all, my friend Frank Goodman, who ran shows in New York for years at USA Pro, he runs his shows in Orlando a couple times a year, and they've been sold out and everything. I help him out in the back. Now, he has great shows at like Scott Steiner and Jack Swagger and all these guys. I've jumped on ring announcing when somebody didn't show up. That was an interesting experience. But yeah, absolutely. Commentary would definitely be something I'd be interested in, only because, again, a lot of the talent now I've been around. I've been in the ring with them, or I understand. So really, it's developing that in here, hopefully, and I would love that opportunity. I absolutely love that opportunity.
If there was anyone like nowadays who, back when you were wrestling, who you could have fought, who would you have chosen? That's my question for you.
What was your dream match?
Yeah, what's your dream match? Exactly.
Well, I had one of them against the late, great Chris Candido, who was one of my heroes. There was Mike McGann. I used to listen to Back in Black from AC/DC walking down the streets of Manhattan. Like, man, one day hopefully I can wrestle Chris Candido. And he was one of, if not the best talents ever. If you go back and you watch a Chris Candido match, I challenge you to watch this. Chris Candido versus Lance Storm, ECW Heatwave 98. The opening match. Go back and watch that, Russell. I promise you'll love it. For me, I got to wrestle him in 2004, and Tammy Sitch, Sonny was with him. He gave me the best match of my life, by far. As far as, the best talents are the ones that can make you better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I see these guys like Orange Cassidy from All Elite. I'm like, that character is absolutely hysterical. I see guys now like MJF, who's just outstanding in the ring and talent-wise. There's a lot of people I wish I could have worked with. The late, great Larry Sweeney. Sweet and sour Larry Sweeney was one guy, man. If you look him up, he was just, I mean, it's a sad story because he passed away at a very young age.
Yeah.
That was a guy where I was like, dude, I wish I could have wrestled him. You know what I mean? But I was lucky, too. I got to get in the ring with a lot of legendary people. Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Really?
With Captain
Really?
Lou Albano. Yeah.
Actually, interesting story about that. Actually, my dad's favorite wrestler of all time is Superfly Snuka.
A lot of people's favorite wrestler. And I wrestled him in Brooklyn in 2006. And it was like a sold-out show. And Captain Lou Albano was with him, both no longer with us. That was cool. Great experience. What you learned from those guys, the older guys who knew what they were doing. I was lucky enough to be in the ring with Nikolai Volkov one time, where they had me jump him when he was singing God Bless America, which was ridiculous, but that was amazing. You learn something from everybody you work.
Yeah.
Everybody you get in the ring with. D'Lo Brown. I had a fun match with D'Lo Brown. Pretty sure it's on YouTube. My main man, Diehard Derek out of Tampa, who's doing a new podcast with Georgia Smith called What's on Georgia's Mind. Georgia Smith is Davey Boy's daughter. They just launched a new podcast. Good luck to them. You know, being in the ring with those older, experienced wrestlers that, you think about that. Snuka main event in Madison Square Garden how many times? That's why your father loves him, because he probably saw him jump off the top of the cage on a Bob Backlund in Morocco. Those moments you never forget.
Actually, yeah, my dad said the first wrestling match he ever saw was Snuka jumping off the cage.
Oh, how can anybody forget that, right? I was lucky, man. I got to work with so many amazing people. Billy Gunn was another cool guy. Billy Gunn, 6'6", 275-pound guy, throwing me around. He was awesome to work with. You learn something from every one of them. And, but now the talents I see athletically, they're just incredible. The guys, the girls, everybody did. I don't think I can hang now. Like, honestly, I can do my gimmick stuff, but then you see somebody like an MJF, right?
Yeah.
Who can go out there and piss people off in an old school heel kind of way. That's a talent. I go, wow, he gets it. He's awesome. For me, another thing, did you guys see any highlights from the All Elite pay-per-view? The All Out pay-per-view from last week?
We were going to, I was going to buy it for him to watch it, but we haven't been able to see any of the highlights. Actually, that was another question. What's your thoughts on AEW so far? Great. I
think to have wrestling back on TNT and Tony Schiavone and, and Jim Ross and, you know what I mean? And the opportunity for all these guys and girls to be in that spotlight again with real television, it's awesome. Hats off to Tony Khan, and I'm not just like kissing up because I want a job from them or anything. That would be cool. But honestly, to see, the business is on fire, dude. Ring of Honor's doing great. I remember being on their first show back in 2002. That was a whole another lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But, it's great. And I saw, for me, seeing Tully Blanchard with Sean Spears. Sean Spears is one of the best talents in the world. And Cody Rhodes. And to see Sean Spears in that spot is great because, you know what? He's one of the best talents in the world. And with Tully Blanchard, now Tully Blanchard to me is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
I would wear a sweater on my neck years ago because I wanted to be like Tully Blanchard. I used Tully Blanchard's slingshot suplex, right? And Jack Evans, who's another talent who's there. I wrestled Jack Evans in 2005 and ran into him again. He said, "Hey Tobin, you should do that Tully Blanchard suplex out of an F5," and that became my finish, right? Not that it always worked, but Tully was to see Tully for the first time. Now Tully Blanchard's career was pretty much ended in 1989 because when he was in the WWE, he never made it back to WCW. Whatever happened, and he didn't get that opportunity to go back. To see him on TV again with that wealth of knowledge and Arn Anderson come out and give a spine buster, it's good for everybody, man. To have more wrestling on TV, like, what do you think about it?
Well, I love it. I actually want to fully get into AEW. I never got to fully get into it. Now, normally I'd still watch the highlights and see like what took place, but I never even had time to watch last week's pay-per-view highlights. Unfortunately, it was actually on my birthday, so there was that. But yeah, I think AEW's talent is really good.
Yeah.
Like they got stars like Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley.
Yeah. It's a shame too. Moxley had to pull out of the pay-per-view, but because he got the MRSA again. Hopefully, thank God he's all right. That's no joke.
Yeah,
that is no joke. You got to take care of that. But I mean, it's mainstream television. TNT, dude, you were probably a little kid when WCW went out of business, right?
Yeah.
How old were you in 2001?
4.
Wow, makes me feel old, dude. But let me tell you something. From 1995 until 2001, Monday night was the place to be, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did not want to miss Nitro. You did not want to miss Raw. When that Monday Night War heated up, you could not miss a Monday night show because there was always something unexpected. It brought out the best in everybody. So now here you have NXT, which is the hottest brand in the business right now, getting the opportunity to be on USA Network to go directly head to head with AEW. It's good for everybody. People are going to make, the boys and girls are going to make more money. The spotlight is going to be on everybody, and the more wrestling, the better, I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the whole business in general is on fire with SmackDown now going to Fox in October.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
And they're redoing the entire draft.
Yeah.
They're redoing that next month. I think they're really going to keep making all the wrestling like really entertaining and really good, which is a good thing.
Well, you have to. I mean, you're not going to be, the audience is, it's tough now too. This is another thing where I'm happy I'm retired because like you got to go out there and like kill yourself for these people now. Yeah. I mean, physically, every time and on a personal level, like I cringe when I watch certain things. When I see a suicide dive between the top and middle rope in every match, like you do that wrong, you're in a bad spot. Believe me, one little thing, and the more you do it, to me, I'm a little old school where I think those things meant more when you didn't see them all the time. But it's a different age, Athletically, you got these guys like Joey Janela, and they're out there doing spots with the big dives and stuff with the Cracker Barrel and Darby Allin and all these guys. It's cool to watch, but how long is your career going to be? That's the question.
And with like Shane McMahon jumping off the top of the steel cage.
That's nuts.
Age. Like,
yeah, but Shane McMahon's in crazy shape, and he always has been. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter.
Oh.
The bumps are the bumps, no matter what. We've always been told we have a bump card, right? And you only have so many punches on your bump card.
Yeah,
you could be in the best shape in the world, and they do everything they can to make things safe. But at the same time, you're still falling off a 30-foot cage onto a crash pad or a table or whatever it is.
That's true.
The bump is a bump, dude.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Your body can only take so much. So you better make it worth it. You better make those big moments count. At a WrestleMania, of course, you got to do something big.
Yeah.
But look at Moxley's entrance into AEW, man, in Vegas.
I know.
Yeah, that's how you want to make a splash.
Yeah.
He made a big statement, and that's your main event guy now for a long time. And Jericho is just, how about that? How about Chris Jericho?
I know.
Cutting the greatest guy. I saw him walking through the Philadelphia airport a couple months ago. Just like 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I'm sitting there waiting. My flight gets delayed, and you just see Chris Jericho, and the dude looks like $1 million. He looks like a star, and a guy who constantly reinvents himself. Every time you think that, Chris Jericho, the scarf, the list, the jacket, right? And now it's a little bit of the bubbly. Like, that's hysterical. The guy is the best there is at reinventing himself. So I think AEW is going to be cool.
I love Jericho. I think he's fantastic.
Well, Jericho's been like in this for like years.
Yeah.
Oh,
years upon years. Like he's
going back to Calgary in '89, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think he's going to be almost like the Ric Flair. He's not going to retire no matter what. But
he doesn't have to retire.
No.
That's the whole thing. It's like, and also, if you're going to do so, actually, I'm reading one of his books right now. I just started it, but if you're going to do something, do it big, right? Like this is a big deal. Like this is the first time in 20 years that there's been television besides WWE. Like not really, but you know what I mean, on a major network like that.
No,
and now Impact just announced that they bought Access TV. The parent company of Impact purchased, I read that earlier today, that they purchased Access TV or HDNet or,
Really?
Yeah. So they're going to be back on TV now, like on a major network. So that's cool. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. Here's my question for you.
Uh-oh.
So, if I was to ask you if you could still, like, do a really, really good promo, would you be able to?
It depends on what we're talking about. I was never the best promo guy, but if you told me like what we were talking about and who we were talking about, I could always try my best. Like sometimes you got to go through life cutting promos with people, and you try to. I mean, when I was in my element with the Chick Magnets in Delaware or with the Boogie Nights in New York, I'd like to think that I could if I needed to. Like we were doing our radio show, I'd say, hey, listen up, Daddy. You can't miss Muscle Talk Radio or else. No, I mean, it depends on the situation. I always found the best ones have a sense of realism to them. You could be over the top, right?
Yeah.
But if something is real there's a real issue, or just, you're really being yourself with the dial turned up, I would like to think that I could.
Like, I think there has to be an extent to realism, because let's take it back to Booker T.
Oh, one of the best ever.
Like I remember one time he took it up to a level where he just dropped the N-bomb out of
Mike McGann. What's up, brother? Well, that was an accident.
Well, no, it was an accident, but I find like,
but he was hyped up.
He was getting like really hyped.
You mean the Hulk Hogan promo, the infamous Hulk Hogan promo? Yeah. Listen, it doesn't. I mean, everybody slipped. Here's the thing: if you're on live TV, I believe that was a pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Remember the promo with Sid where Jim Ross is like, hey, we're live, pal. Sid's like, hey, let's do it again. Yeah, the red light is on. The red light is on.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. The first time I was ever an extra was in Washington, D.C. when ECW was part of SmackDown. Mm-hmm. You remember when they did the ECW show? Right?
Yeah.
So I was just nervous as hell, right? And Robbie E., who's in NXT now as Rob Stone, and Rob Strauss brand. Him and I went there as extras, and he had been there a million times. He's great. So happy to see him doing well right now. And we were cops in a segment with Kurt Angle and Big Show and Paul Heyman. Now, this was live on ECW.
Wow.
On Sci-Fi. And, of course, out of the four indie guys, two other guys behind us were from Virginia, I'm the one that gets the handcuffs somehow, right? So now this is in the Verizon Center or whatever it's called now in DC, backstage, and I've never been to TV before.
Yeah.
Like you go there and you're eating catering with like everybody, and you stay out of everybody's way, and you're walking around this big arena all day, and then now it's 10 o'clock at night, and Bruce Pritchard and Paul Heyman are running this segment. Okay, you guys are the cops over here. You need to handcuff Kurt Angle and hold him up. And I had gotten the handcuffs from the prop guy earlier on. They have this whole prop department. And I accidentally, in the rehearsal, cuffed Kurt Angle with one cuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I couldn't get them on him. You know what I mean? And I think Bruce Pritchard said, like, oh, are we still going to do this live? I was like, oh, my God, this ain't good. Trying to get the cuffs out and get them on him and all this stuff. And I think Rob or somebody said, just have them in your hand, bro. You know what I mean? But anyway, I really cuffed him in the rehearsal, so he has one cuff hanging off his. And here's me running through the arena like a maniac with a cop with a fake gun on my belt and a fake nightstick and all this other stuff. They have the wardrobe looking for a damn handcuff key. And meanwhile, the show is on the air. There's matches in the ring. Ric Flair is out there beating up Mick Foley. And I'm running through the back of the Verizon Center looking for a damn handcuff key. I'm like, they're going to kill me, these guys. This is like, I never ran so fast in my life. I said, sir, I need the key. And I get the key. I said, Kurt, I'm sorry, man. You know what I mean? We do the segment. It's on the network, I think. You know what I mean? Where we the promo is that Big Show comes in and Pie faces Kurt Angle, and we have him handcuffed, and the Basham brothers are under the helmets and stuff. But dude, I'm telling you, it was ridiculous how nervous I was because, you lose a handcuff, you accidentally handcuff the main star of the show. Like, it's not a good deal. But it all worked out. You know what I mean? The segment, but that was live. So the point I was making is that we rehearsed it, and I screwed up with the handcuffs, but the red light went on, and that was a live segment. Anything can happen. Anybody could slip of the tongue and say something they shouldn't say, or they have a delay, I'm sure, if you use a bad word, but yeah, brother.
It happens
live
all the
TV
time.
is live TV, daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
All bets are off.
Yeah, people could mess up. I've heard like Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton say things and slip up before.
Well, just imagine like how it feels to be out there, right? Like that promo we did, I was backstage, and that was the coolest thing that ever happened. I was like, I could die happy now and be okay. Went to TV and all that. But like a few months later, I get the call again. I go back there. Never got it in New York. It was always to go to DC, but it was still an awesome opportunity. The next one was the Crime Time segment with the President Bush impersonator. You ever see that one?
I didn't see that one.
All right, so there's no way in hell that could be shown on TV today because it's pretty offensive. But here's me, my tag team partner Brian Socia, who's an on-air DJ in the Philadelphia area, my friend Scotty Charisma, and my friend Scott Beach, who was known as Aiden Chambers. We're dressed up like Secret Service guys with the headsets on, and they brought out an actor from L.A. to play George Bush, and this is like 2006 when George Bush was not as popular in D.C., and yeah, he said a couple of things that were a little off color, and the whole arena is like, ooh, the most nerve-wracking thing in the world, man. Imagine standing out there in 20,000 people, and you're on live TV. For me, it was my at-bat at Yankee Stadium because I was like, oh my God, nobody can take this away from me now. Like, just standing there was one of the greatest, but my legs were shaking, So can you imagine when the off-color jokes start happening and all the craziness? I have to bite my tongue. I'm like, don't laugh, dude. You're supposed to be serious because if you laugh, wasn't there a promo where Vince got pissed at somebody for laughing years ago or, that red light's on, bro. That red light's on.
I know.
That's the point I was making.
No, I got you. My next question for you. Now we all know that your favorite wrestler of all time is Randy Savage.
Unbelievable, yeah, 100%.
So who would you say is your favorite current wrestler? Like who you think's the best today? There's a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of great ones. I mean, like you have like the talent today is just unreal. I couldn't pick one person. Because I see something I like in everybody, and I'm not just being diplomatic by saying that. I mean, how could you watch an AJ Styles match and not be like, wow, this is the best talent in the world in the ring?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, like I said, I thought Cody versus Dustin Rhodes.
Great match. I saw that one, actually.
An unbelievable story in the ring, which you don't see anymore. Not because of the blood. The blood was whatever. That added to it. But the drama and the story, and that's my era is the old school stuff.
Yeah.
But again, like look at these talents you got now, like a Ricochet or
Seth Rollins,
yep. Like Bell the Bell. These guys are Randy Orton. Still, Randy Orton's been on top level for 20 years. Does he age? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I like what I see though, as far as like guys and girls being able to express themselves and their characters. I think it's a cool gimmick like Luchasaurus with Luke Perry's son. That's a cool gimmick. I think it's cool David Arquette is out there. Hey, David Arquette is supposed to be like, they make David Arquette out to be the worst thing that ever happened in wrestling.
Yeah.
Really? So when they had Courtney Cox on Nitro in 2000 cutting promos and Kurt Russell on TV cutting wrestling promos, that was a bad thing? I think it was fine. I'm not saying he should have won the WCW title, but to see him out there now, like having good matches with people and going, hey, you know what? He always respected the business.
Yeah.
If you hear about back then when he won the belt, he gave the money to, was it Owen Hart or Brian Pillman's family, or you know what I mean? But another thing is that the young talents, I'll tell you somebody else now. I was in the locker room in Orlando a couple months ago on my friend Frank's show, and I watched Teddy Hart versus Ricky Martinez. and who I knew as Max Stardom a couple of years ago, is a great talent from down here. And Teddy Hart, and then also Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Offa Jr. But Teddy Hart blew the roof off of the place. You know what I mean? Just the athleticism, the moves, the counters, those guys, man. That family was in the dungeon in Calgary.
Yeah,
and you see it now. There's a local talent that's phenomenal. Jake St. Patrick is a guy you should watch out for. He's a guy out of Pablo Marquez's school in Fort Lauderdale. Great talent. He's getting out there. He's getting all over the place. There's a lot of great young talent out there where now, between YouTube, right, the internet, you don't really need TV to get over anymore. You can promote yourself and get your face out there, get your name out there. It's a good time to be one of the boys and girls too. So I'm sorry, Russell. I can't name one person. I'm rambling. I apologize.
No, it's no problem. I completely understand. I mean, I agree. I mean,
who's your favorite talent right now?
Currently, even though, to be honest with you, even though a lot of people don't carry the weight, I kind of preferred him as a face. My favorite has got to be AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, currently he is definitely the greatest wrestler in the world today. But then you also have, like you said, Seth Rollins, who I think's got to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Ricochet, who's got to be in the top 5, and then Kenny Omega, who's on AEW, who I think is phenomenal as well.
Yeah, but the thing is now, what's cool about Kenny Omega is a whole new audience that didn't watch New Japan and doesn't know what a great talent Kenny Omega is going to get to experience that. I heard something today that the Rock and Roll Express is going to debut in New Japan when they do a tour here in the States in a couple months.
Really?
I was always a tag team guy. Rock and Roll Express is one of the greatest tag teams ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're still out there and sharing their knowledge with people, and that's what the business is all about, dude, giving back. When you work with those older talents who know what they're doing and you can learn something from them, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good... I mean, New Japan is doing great, right? USA Pro, just my friend Frank's show, I think he just announced that Stephen Bonner, who's in the UFC, or Stephen Bonner, he's going to be on the show. Haku's going to be on the show in November. And then WrestleMania comes to Tampa. Russell, you got to go.
Yeah, I gotta go to WrestleMania Live in Tampa.
Oh, it's nothing like it, man.
I definitely plan on going.
What about you? You been to WrestleMania, dude?
When I went to Miami.
In 2012?
The first Rock versus Cena one.
I was there, man.
Yeah.
What an atmosphere that was.
That was possibly... I went to 2 Monday Night Raws before that, and there's nothing like going to a WrestleMania.
Oh.
It is incredible. There's people everywhere freaking out before any matches even started.
The chants were going crazy, and how much money it brings into a town, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, my first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 10 in Madison Square Garden. And if another match, I don't know, which match did I give you to watch before? Candido and Lance Storm from Heat Wave 98. Go watch Brett and Owen open up WrestleMania 10. That is a classroom for anyone that ever feels like stepping into the ring. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, opening match, WrestleMania 10 is one of the greatest matches of all time. Bar none, by far.
Okay.
Just a story that those guys told is just unbelievable, man. It holds up 20-something years later. Or Bret versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 13. That's another classic. Yeah. I mean, Bret Hart was another one. You look back now, and, now those Raws were in 2012. How many times in your life are you going to say you got to see The Rock wrestle, right?
Not that much.
You know what I mean? Those moments you can look back and say, wow, dude, I was there. That atmosphere was incredible.
Yeah.
Like the Rock versus Cena match to me wasn't even that was. I believe this was the match where I saw it on TV. It was Triple H versus The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as the. That was my favorite match.
That was. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
You could I was up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
But I could see the emotion of that match.
Sure.
And it was incredible.
I was sitting dude, if this was a football game, I would have the best seat in the world. It would have been a 50-yard line seat, dude. You know what I'm saying? I was right before the floor.
Yeah.
I'm talking about within 10 rows of the, if this was a football game, it would have been awesome. But for WrestleMania, it was just, the atmosphere is incredible. There's nothing like it. So we should all go this year in Tampa. I'm going to take a ride up. I missed it in Orlando a couple of years ago, and it's cool when everybody else comes in. Everybody piggybacks off of WrestleMania.
Like that. WrestleMania is just a feeling like that, especially in that Mania, especially in Miami. I feel was possibly the best feeling because Daniel Bryan was having the yes movement pushed into his face.
Just start.
And then we had John Cena versus The Rock the first time it happened. Then like just thing after thing after thing. The world record for the quickest match ever against Daniel Bryan and Sheamus.
And Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's right. That was a good show too. You know, like I remember it. Maria Menounos wrestled on that show. It was. I mean, there were great stories. I'm trying to remember now what was my favorite match. I mean, I loved Rock and Cena, but man, and then you had Big Show and Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title.
Taker and
Punk and Jericho.
It really was a great match, though.
Yeah, man, dude. And then if you watch it, I think the Jericho's jacket that he paid like $9,000 for, half the jacket wasn't working. Like, So he just improvised and turned. You know, if you watch the way he walks to the ring, he kind of turns his body a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, to like not let on that. Oh my gosh, the jacket's not. You know, that's Jericho.
It was definitely a great event. Unfortunately, though, that's all we got for you guys today. I'm RTM.
I'm Chris.
And I'm M. Tizzle, Mike Tobin, and I got to tell you something. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Of course, our pleasure.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're really happy that you came along.
And if I rambled too much, I apologize, brother.
Not at all. You're good.
It's great. It was great.
You couldn't have answered the questions any better.
Well, let's hope we do this again sometime.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And to everybody listening, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel, and press that little notification bell down on the bottom.
This was RTM Productions.
That's stupid.